Time I beat you. Don't play. I was with it last time. He go like $50,000. What he say you owe him? Yeah, get out.
Change.
Yeah, it's really paying the money for 50. Just nosy like everyone else. I'm in a lawsuit too.
What if everything you thought you knew about this story was only the surface? What if one post, just one, quietly dropped, then disappeared, wasn't random at all? And what if, allegedly, it was the signal that something much bigger was already in motion behind the scenes? Because right now, people aren't just talking, they're connecting dots. Fast. Screenshots flying. Old clips resurfacing. Names getting pulled back into conversations nobody expected to revisit.
You know I have the resilience to go against anybody. There's nobody that's there. Those are the guys that you would choose not to go against at that point.
And right at the center of it all, 50 Cent. Moving in silence again. Now here's where it gets interesting. Because from what's being discussed online, this isn't just about music or old industry tension. This feels different, more calculated, more deliberate. Especially with T.I. suddenly being pulled back into a narrative people thought had already faded out. And then there's that one detail people can't stop bringing up. A clip, allegedly tied to Shekinah Joe, resurfacing at the exact moment conversation started heating up again. Coincidence? Maybe. Timing? That's where things get uncomfortable. Because if this really is building towards something bigger, something visual, something documentary style, then the real question isn't what's already out, it's what hasn't been shown yet. And trust me, the internet is watching closely. So let's slow this down for a second. Because what's happening here isn't just random internet noise. Not even close. This feels layered, calculated. And if you've been paying attention to how 50 Cent moves, then you already know, silence is never just silence. Because think about it. Out of nowhere, a post appears. No full explanation. No rollout. No trailer. Just a title that instantly grabs attention. And then, gone. Deleted. Like it was never meant to stay up long. And that right there, that's where things start getting interesting.
You left and went and got a house somewhere else.
Cause you started cheating.
Yes, sir.
For those who don't understand, Tip had some infidelities with a girl who I hired, and that girl is one of the reasons why I got my own house.
Now, according to conversations happening across multiple platforms, that post wasn't just random content. It allegedly hinted at something bigger, something tied to a documentary-style project. And not just any project. Something people are already comparing to previous high-impact releases that flipped entire narratives overnight. And here's the part that really has people locked in. The moment that title dropped, even briefly, it pulled one name straight back into the spotlight, T.I. Now let's be clear. Nothing here is being presented as confirmed fact. This is all based on online discussions, resurfaced clips, and what people are connecting themselves. But even with that in mind, the timing alone has people asking questions. Because this isn't the first time T.I.'s name has been part of controversial conversations online. Over the years, there have been multiple discussions, reports, and allegations circulating. Some addressed publicly, some denied, and others that simply faded without clear resolution. And while nothing has been legally proven in a definitive way in many of those conversations, the internet, it doesn't forget. It waits. And then all it takes is one spark. And right now, that spark might have just been lit. Because as soon as that post disappeared, people started doing what they always do, digging. Old interviews, pulled back up, podcast clips, reposted, live streams from years ago, suddenly trending again like they just happened yesterday. And then, one specific angle started gaining traction. A name that, for a long time, was sitting quietly in the background, suddenly became central to everything people were talking about, Shekinah Joe. Now if you followed any of this before, you already know, Shekinah wasn't just a random figure in this story. She was, at one point, considered very close to the inner circle. Not just appearing occasionally, but fully present. Involved. Visible. Trusted. Which is exactly why, when things shifted between her and that circle, people noticed. At the time, it looked like what we've seen 100 times before. A fallout. A friendship breakdown. Emotional moments online. Words exchanged. Nothing that seemed completely out of the ordinary in the world of public personalities. But now people are going back and rewatching everything with a completely different lens. Because when clips resurface after years, context changes. What once seemed like personal drama suddenly feels layered. Like there might have been more happening behind the scenes than what was shown publicly. And again, to be clear, none of this is confirmed. These are interpretations, discussions, and theories being shared online. But that hasn't stopped the momentum. Not even a little. In fact, it's doing the opposite. It's accelerating. Because once one piece of content starts trending, it creates a chain reaction. One clip leads to another. One statement leads to 10 different breakdown videos. And before you know it, a situation that was once quiet becomes impossible to ignore. And right now, that's exactly where this is heading. But here's where things take a sharper turn. Because this isn't just about resurfaced clips anymore. It's about timing. And timing, in situations like this, is everything. Because while all of this is building online, there's another layer that people are starting to connect, and that's the legal timeline surrounding past situations tied to these names. Over the years, there have been public reports of allegations involving T.I. and his circle. Serious ones that gained national attention at the time. Legal representatives spoke out. Statements were made. And for a moment, it seemed like everything was heading toward a full courtroom battle. But then, things didn't unfold the way many expected. Some cases, according to public records, were dismissed due to legal technicalities, including timing-related issues. And while that doesn't confirm or deny the claims themselves, it left something behind that the internet doesn't handle well. Unanswered questions. And unanswered questions? They don't disappear. They linger. They wait for moments exactly like this. So now, with a possible documentary being hinted at, even if unofficially, people are starting to ask, what if this isn't just content? What if this is timing? Because if something were to drop, especially something visual, something that revisits past moments, statements, and relationships, it wouldn't just bring attention back. It could reshape how people view everything that came before. And that's where things start to feel heavier. Because now, it's not just about what happened. It's about how it's being presented. And who is presenting it. Because when someone like 50 Cent chooses not to respond directly, not to argue, not to jump into the usual back and forth, that's when people start paying even closer attention. Because historically, when he moves like that, it usually means one thing. He's not reacting. He's preparing. And according to what's being discussed online right now, that preparation might already be in motion. Now again, nothing has been officially confirmed. No full project has been announced. No trailer has dropped. No platform has verified anything. But that hasn't slowed the conversation. If anything, it's made it louder. Because speculation thrives in silence. And right now, there's a lot of silence. But underneath that silence, there's movement. There's curiosity. There's tension building in real time. And the more people revisit these past moments, the more connections they try to make, the more one question keeps coming back to the surface. Was that post really just a post? Or was it a preview of something much bigger? And if it was, then what exactly is coming next? Then what exactly is coming next? Because once that question hits, everything shifts. The conversation stops being about what already happened, and starts focusing on what could happen next. And that's where things begin to feel less like random internet chatter, and more like a build-up. Now let's talk about what people are really reacting to. It's not just the idea of a documentary. It's the pattern. Because if you've been watching how 50 Cent has been moving over the past few years, you'll notice something very specific. He doesn't rush. He doesn't over-explain. And he definitely doesn't drop hints unless there's a reason behind it. And according to discussions happening online, this situation is following that same pattern almost perfectly. Step 1. Create curiosity. Step 2. Disappear. Step 3. Let the internet do the rest. And right now, the internet is doing exactly that. Because the moment that post vanished, people didn't move on, they leaned in. Blogs started picking it up. Reaction channels started breaking it down frame by frame. And suddenly, what was only visible for a short moment turned into something everywhere. And with that, came the theories. Now again, we're talking about online speculation, not confirmed facts. But the way these theories are spreading, that's what's making this situation feel so intense. Because people aren't just asking if something exists. They're asking what's in it. And that's where things take a deeper turn. Because one of the biggest talking points right now revolves around the possibility, again, allegedly, that there could be unseen footage, or at least a recontextualization of past moments involving T.I., his inner circle, and individuals connected to those earlier controversies. And when that conversation starts, it doesn't stay small. It expands. Fast. Because people start revisiting everything. Old reality show appearances. Archived interviews. Clips from live streams that barely got attention the first time. And suddenly, everything looks different. Not because the content changed, but because the context did. And that's one of the most powerful things about this kind of situation. Context changes perception. And perception? That's what drives the entire internet. Now let's bring Shekinah Joe back into focus for a second. Because her name isn't just floating around randomly. It keeps coming up. Repeatedly. And not in a surface-level way. People are going back to old clips, analyzing her tone, her words, her reactions, almost like they're looking for something they might have missed the first time around. At the time, those moments were seen as emotional reactions during a personal fallout. But now, some viewers are interpreting them differently, not as isolated incidents, but as possible pieces of a larger picture. Again, nothing confirmed, but the shift in perception is real. And that shift is what's fueling everything. Because once people start believing there might be more to a story than what was originally shown, they don't stop looking. They dig deeper. They question everything. And that's exactly what's happening right now. Now here's where it gets even more layered. Because while all of this is building online, there's another angle that people are starting to pay attention to, and that's influence. Not just influence in terms of followers or popularity, but influence over narratives. Because when someone with a track record of successful, high-impact storytelling steps into a situation like this, even indirectly, it changes how people view everything. Suddenly, it's not just rumors anymore. It feels like a potential storyline. And that's a completely different level. Because storytelling, especially documentary-style storytelling, has the power to shape public opinion in ways that simple posts or tweets never could. It adds structure. It adds sequencing. It adds emotional weight. And most importantly, it adds credibility, even when things are still being debated. And that's why people are watching this so closely. Because if something does come out, something polished, something detailed, it won't just remind people of past events. It could reframe them. And once something is reframed on a large scale, it's very hard to reverse. Now let's talk about another layer that's quietly building in the background. The public reaction. Because while some people are treating this as entertainment, others are taking it much more seriously. You've got discussions happening across platforms where users are debating timelines, comparing statements, and even bringing up past legal reports to try and make sense of everything. Some are skeptical. Some are convinced there's more to the story. And others, they're just waiting. Waiting to see if anything actually drops. But regardless of where people stand, one thing is clear. Attention is locked in. And that kind of attention, it doesn't fade easily. Especially when it's tied to uncertainty. Because uncertainty creates tension. And tension keeps people watching. Now here's the part that really stands out. Through all of this, there hasn't been a clear follow-up. No detailed explanation. No confirmation. No denial. Just that one move. And then silence. And that silence? It's doing more than any statement could. Because it leaves room for interpretation. It allows speculation to grow. And it keeps the focus exactly where it is, on what might happen next. And if history has shown anything, it's that when situations build like this, they usually lead somewhere. Not always in the way people expect, but somewhere. And right now, all signs, at least from what's being discussed online, are pointing toward a moment that hasn't happened yet. A moment that could shift everything. Because if something drops, something visual, something detailed, something that pulls together all these past moments, conversations, and unanswered questions, then this stops being just online discussion and becomes something much bigger. Something that could change how people see this entire situation moving forward. And that's why, even without confirmation, even without proof of what's coming, people aren't looking away. Because it feels like something is building. Something just under the surface. And the only question now is, when it finally comes out, what exactly is it going to show? What exactly is it going to show? Because once you reach that point in the conversation, everything starts to feel like it's sitting on edge. Not exploding yet, but definitely building towards something. And the closer things get to that moment, the more intense the speculation becomes. Now let's zoom out for a second. Because this isn't just about one post, one clip, or even one rumored project anymore. It's about how all these pieces are lining up at the same time. And that timing? It's what's making people pause. Because while the internet is revisiting past clips and conversations, there's also renewed attention around legal timelines connected to TI. And when public discussions, resurfaced content, and legal developments all start trending together, it creates a very specific kind of pressure. Not confirmed pressure, but perceived pressure. And perception moves fast. Because now people aren't just asking what happened in the past. They're asking how those past moments might be presented if something new drops. And that's a completely different conversation. Because presentation shapes narrative. Narrative shapes opinion. And opinion? That's what drives everything from headlines to comment sections. Now bring 50 Cent back into this for a second. Because one thing about him, and this is something even critics acknowledge, is that he understands timing at a different level. He doesn't just drop content. He builds moments. And according to what's being discussed online, this situation has all the signs of a moment being built in real time. Not rushed. Not forced. But assembled. Because think about how this has unfolded so far. A post appears, just long enough to be noticed. It disappears, just fast enough to create curiosity. Old content resurfaces, just enough to restart conversations. And then, nothing. No confirmation. No denial. Just space. And that space? It's where everything grows. Because in that space, people start filling in the blanks themselves. They connect dots. They create timelines. They build theories. And sometimes, those theories spread faster than facts ever could. Now let's talk about one of the most discussed elements in all of this. The idea of a clip. Not just any clip. A specific one. Allegedly tied to Shekinah Joe. Now again, to keep this clear, there's no confirmed release, no verified footage publicly presented in this context. Everything being discussed is based on online speculation and resurfaced content. But that hasn't stopped the conversation. Because once the idea of a clip enters the narrative, people start imagining what it could contain. Context. Conversations. Moments that weren't fully understood before. And whether that's accurate or not, the impact is the same. Curiosity spikes. Engagement rises. And attention stays locked. Because humans don't like unanswered questions. We try to answer them ourselves. And right now, there are a lot of unanswered questions. Now here's where things start to feel even more intense. Because if, and this is purely hypothetical, something does get released, something structured, something edited, something presented in a documentary format, then the conversation changes instantly. Because at that point, it's no longer just clips floating around online. It becomes a story, a beginning, a middle, an end. And once a story is presented like that, it carries weight. Even if parts of it are debated. Even if some details remain unconfirmed. Because the format itself gives it power. And that's why people are watching this so closely. Because if this turns into a full narrative, it could reshape how people view everything that came before. Now let's not ignore another important layer here. The public divide. Because not everyone is reacting the same way. Some people are skeptical. They see this as strategic timing, maybe even promotional. Others believe there could be more beneath the surface. And then there are those who are just watching quietly, waiting for something concrete before forming an opinion. But regardless of where people stand, they're watching. And in today's media landscape, attention is everything. Because attention drives conversation. Conversation drives visibility. And visibility? That's what turns moments into movements. Now let's talk about consequences. Not confirmed consequences. Not official outcomes. But potential ones. Because if something does drop, especially something that gains traction, it could lead to a ripple effect. Media outlets picking it up. More interviews. More questions being asked publicly. Possibly even renewed discussions around past legal matters, not in a courtroom sense necessarily, but in the court of public opinion. And sometimes, that's just as powerful. Because public opinion doesn't require proof to form. It builds off perception. And once perception shifts, it's hard to bring it back. Now through all of this, one thing remains consistent. Silence. From key figures involved. No detailed responses. No full explanations. And that silence? It keeps the tension alive. Because it leaves everything open-ended. And open-ended stories, they keep people coming back. Now here's the part that really stands out. This entire situation hasn't peaked yet. It feels like it's still rising. Still building. Still moving towards something that hasn't happened yet. And that's why people aren't looking away. Because it feels like we're in the middle of something, not at the end of it. And when you're in the middle of something like this, the most important question isn't what's already been said. It's what's about to be revealed. Because if something drops next, something real, something detailed, something that connects all these moments people are revisiting right now, then everything changes. Not gradually, but instantly. And until that moment comes, everything stays right here. In this space between speculation and reality, between silence and reveal, between what people think they know, and what might still be coming. And honestly, that might be the most powerful part of this entire situation. Because sometimes, what's not being shown yet, is exactly what keeps everyone watching. So now it all comes back to this. Was it just a random post that disappeared too fast for people to fully understand? Or was it, allegedly, the first signal of something much bigger already in motion? Because let's be real for a second. If nothing was there, why did it hit that hard? Why did old clips suddenly start trending again? Why are people still connecting dots days later like something doesn't fully add up? And more importantly, why does it feel like this story hasn't even reached its peak yet? Now I'm not here to tell you what to believe. None of this has been officially confirmed, and everything being discussed is based on online conversations, resurfaced content, and what people are piecing together in real time. But you can't ignore the pattern, the timing, the silence, the build-up. And if history has shown anything, it's that when situations unfold like this, they usually lead somewhere. So the real question is, if something does drop next, something visual, something detailed, something that pulls all these moments together, will it confirm what people have been speculating? Or completely flip the story in a way nobody expected? I want to hear what you think. Is this just internet hype getting out of control? Or is there actually something deeper happening behind the scenes? Drop your thoughts in the comments. No filter. And if you made it this far, you already know this isn't the kind of story you want to miss halfway through. So go ahead, hit that like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Because if this really is building towards something bigger, you're going to want to be here when it finally hits.